All right, Jim Lang, an ever-growing topic of interest to society in general. Certainly here in Canada and the U.S., we're seeing more and more of this taking hold in our court system. And, you know, it's interesting because beforehand, you and I had a quick chat about this, and almost out of the gate, we had not a difference of opinion on it, but I think that there's a couple of perspectives on this one. But let me just give you sort of a rundown, if I may, of where we're using this AI technology to some degree in the courts already.
Okay.
Legal research and case prep. So, you know, the ability to search thousands of cases, find legal precedents, and lawyers can miss this sort of stuff because if, you know, historically you're just referencing other cases from documentation about other cases, you might lose the precedent along the way, draft briefs and legal arguments, and to summarize long court decisions that might make a difference in the case you're working on. So this means that junior lawyers used to spend weeks doing this work.
Absolutely.
And now AI can just do it in minutes. What is that doing for the learning process? Just quick. The next thing they're doing is evidence review and discovery. In major lawsuits, millions and millions of documents, as we saw with Epstein. And of course, you know, it's possible that most large cases have this same issue.
Real quick, think about a corporate case involving potential fraud or money in that. It would be reams of documents they'd have to go through.
And to actually create a web out of those documents is a difficult task. And once again, in the Epstein case, we're seeing people do that right now, create a web from the evidence currently presented.
Exactly.
AI tools can quickly flag suspicious messages, group similar evidence, and prioritize documents for lawyers, so it's pretty much at that point an administrative assistant.
Now, the reason I like it is for people don't realize that in Canada, under new Supreme Court laws that went down about a decade ago, you don't have infinite time between the time you're charged and you go to trial.
Right.
It's 18 months from the time you're charged until you're in court for provincial, 30 months for federal, for a major crime. So there is a time limit, and people don't realize it because everyone's used to watching TV shows, and the show usually wraps up in an hour, but they have no concept of the months, as you say, of reviewing documents, reviewing evidence, preparing. It's so time consuming. Going back to a case from 1987 that may have precedent for your client. So you have to go through that. And if AI can expedite it and reduce that time from months to weeks or days and get cases to the courts in Canada quicker, because right now we have a real backlog of problems in the courts of cases that you just can't get through. This could be a good thing.
Well, you do have a good point, Jim, because it makes you wonder, okay, so now I'm in court, I'm a lawyer, I'm representing you, and I bring to a document or a point of evidence that is already refutable and easily refutable, but I didn't have the research to show me on hand. Now it puts a stall in the case, might even take us out of the courtroom for the day, might create a reset and an adjournment.
If you're allowed.
Could even cause a mistrial.
Right.
So hopefully the mission here is that becomes streamlined and less of that happens.
I just think people don't have an appreciation for the mountain of information and paperwork involved with some kind of trial.
Yeah.
Frank Stronach, a very well-known billionaire business person in Canada, is on trial for alleged sexual assault. And some of these cases are dating back over 45 years. Well, you can imagine the paperwork and information and evidence that go through all that. It takes weeks and months per accusation. And the legal offense, you have the constitutional right for a defense attorney. They have to go through it and be able to present a case to defend their client.
That's it. So, I mean, hopefully that becomes truncated to some degree, right?
Right.
And we get a better focus on what the actual trial is meant to do and what the charges are meant to execute, and hopefully also a better defense. Now, we're looking at this from a prosecution standpoint, but really even from a defense standpoint in that scenario, it gives you a better breadth of evidence to draw on, precedents in a shorter time, as you point out. Risk assessment in bail and sentencing. So some jurisdictions are already using AI tools to help judges determine the likelihood of a reoffender, flight risk, or a danger to the public.
Well, Mike, one of the biggest concerns in this country right now aside from the economy and affordability, is crime and safety and the catch and release. I know it's been talked about a lot, but every time you see a case in the news about a pretty serious crime and you hear that and read that they had been previously arrested, charged, and released, it makes, no matter what Canadian you are, it makes their blood boil.
Well, then you'll probably like this. One of the most controversial systems is COMPAS, and it analyzes criminal history, demographics, prior arrests, and community factors. In other words, what's in their proximity. And critics are arguing that it may reinforce existing bias in policing data. So, okay, I can understand that. If there has been a bias in policing up to that point, and that's the data that they're using, okay, but let's make the assumption that the police data is accurate and based on what's happened.
And to me, once we get to this point, we're beyond policing. We're into the courts now. So this is the judge, not the policing. This is the judge hearing a case about an accused and determining whether or not they get bail, whether they get released, and whatever demographic background they're from, whatever their background, whatever their social economic situation. But now this is beyond the police angle of it. Now they're into the courts angle, and the judge has, in this country, have the right to say, yes, you will get bail. Here's your conditions, whatnot, or no, you're going to be held in custody to your trial.
Well, once again, where we're having so much stalling in the court system and too many people are getting out on bail, anything I think that can be put into place that sheds a more accurate light on the individual that we're putting out there, we kind of need to take advantage of.
And if a judge maybe prevents them from making an incorrect decision and go, you know what, in this case, this person deserves bail and deserves to be on their own until their trial.
Now, I will say this. The other day, I used ChatGPT to tell me who Jim Lang was, and they painted you as a professional fisherman. So there is that, and we'll get to it later on. But in this process, you hope that the AI is only accessing accurate and presenting accurate information. This last one, or second last one, this one was obvious to me. Transcription, instant transcription for judges, lawyers, court appeals. Here's something in the future that I think will make a difference as well. I've seen AI technology that real time will translate languages. So,
which is a concern in North America now.
It is a major holdup in the court system to make sure that somebody's represented properly in the language that they speak. That can be a matter of availability based. Now, there's infinite availability in the calendar for somebody to translate because that technology is there.
Now, the other thing that I think is interesting about the potential benefit of AI is it'll assume the probability of winning a case. So you're the prosecution. You do not have unlimited resources. You only have so much legal assistant, legal help with you. And is it worth pursuing this trial and spending the money and time, or do we cut a deal and use their probability and realize, hey, I got about 85% chance of conviction with this case. I'm going to focus my energy in that.
Interesting. Yeah, that does raise a real good point.
Because if they're accused and arrested, but you're like, I got a 25, 30% chance of a conviction. Let's go to their lawyer, cut some sort of deal, and then maybe they do some limited time and have house arrest and probation, but then that saves the court time and money.
That's a really good point. That seems to be a real win for AI.
And the Canadian court system.
Well, also don't forget, they're going to develop AI systems that are specifically dedicated to the court systems. And you have to give credit to the people who create this kind of technology, that it's going to be steadfast. And the abilities in there, the tool sets that are in there are going to be verified.
The human mind, the human individual can only process so much information, only put so many hours in, only do so much work, Mike. And my concern is you see these Crown attorneys, when they speak outside of a superior court in Canada after a case, and the hours they put in, and that's just one case, and then they're talking to the media reporters. Well, then they go home, have a rest, they're back in the office next day. They got to worry about the next case.
Yeah.
And then also the time factor too. Anyone who's used a lawyer, they charge by the hour. The amount of time maybe and the amount of cost that could be saved for someone it could be the difference between whether or not you go to court or not. Because some people say, hey, I can't afford to go to trial because I can't afford the lawyer. In this case, maybe you can.
Not very often I make a note as we're doing a show, Jim, but you just got me on a point. This is going to make things very efficient.
Yes.
Okay, is that going to save tax dollars? And are those cost savings from the law firms going to be passed along and represent lower fees from our lawyers?
I just think about lower working class, lower income people who are getting screwed over by the legal system because they think, I don't have the resources to fight this.
Yeah.
And now maybe they will. And now maybe they'll get their time in court and get their due.
Wow, you raise a good point. Maybe AI replaces lawyers.
Well,
maybe there's going to be such advancement in AI that you'll be able to represent yourself into the system. The system will present a case for you. Go with me on this.
Okay, all right.
Analyze the risk in taking this case on by yourself, show you the possibilities and all the dangers, all the pratfalls and everything that you need, show you how the operating system of the courthouse is and the court system, the legal system, and then present a case that then you can automatically send to the courtroom AI computer that will then assess with the AI judge whether or not you're going to go to jail.
Okay.
And then they send over the AI police or don't, depending on how the case goes.
Now,
George Jetson arrives.
I would still like to have that information forwarded to a real lawyer.
Okay. For now.
So the real lawyer all of a sudden has a little time to review it. So you have the AI info with the real lawyer with the law degree working together.
You ever
Quicker,
notice
more efficient, and maybe helps your case.
Have you had this situation with the AI where you're like, I'm not sure if that's AI or not?
I don't use AI that much, so I haven't had
But
that.
you haven't had that experience where
No.
you're like, gee, I'm not.
Okay, no, wait a second.
Is this AI?
When it comes to photos and images, that's where it's more like when I'm seeing videos on my social media, I'm going, I think that's AI.
You know, funny enough, I have the same experience with most lawyers. Are you real? Just a lawyer joke. I'm only kidding. But the key debate issues, of course, are, can an algorithm really be fair? Which is really what AI is. It's a reasoning algorithm based on search of information already out there.
Speak to the scientists behind it. We're not there yet, but we soon will be there. Now, what you're proposing about AI lawyers is not a 2026 thing, but could be something that's a reality in the early mid-2030s.
Maybe.
Based on how everything's progressing.
Right now, I say to ChatGPT, man, bald guys are the most handsome in the world, aren't they? And ChatGPT gives me all these stats about how bald guys rule the world. And you know what? I have a feeling that that's not the same response that you'd get if you said, guys with great hair in their late 50s rule the world. You'd probably get that response.
I get no response. It's just a blank.
But I do think that if I put out there that, okay, I bumped into this guy with my car or whatever, but I put in there my perception of it, which is that guy bumped into me. Now, is ChatGPT going to have the ability to, or AI, I say ChatGPT, is the AI tool going to have the ability to assess whether or not I'm lying to it as the client?
Now, here's where I think it's really going to help. How many times have you gotten a debatable ticket? Speeding, parking, I didn't run that
Every
stop
one I've
sign.
ever gotten.
Everyone. So many people say, I'm going to go to court to fight that.
Yeah.
How much more efficient would it be to have the information from the officer on the scene, what they said, this is what I have. I have dash cam video, and it goes to an AI funnel, small claims court. So you don't waste a day. It's being done through the AI system and goes, oh, Mr. Wixson, you know what? As a matter of fact, you didn't do that. You're free.
Okay, one other thing.
Yes.
Could AI, I jotted this down because I didn't want to lose it.
Okay.
Who's accountable when AI is wrong in the court?
The real judge. So there'd be an overseeing judge that takes a look at
Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd, yeah. So Judge Dredd would go, no, wait a second. AI is wrong here, blah, blah, blah. And so that would be the fail-safe for people worried about that.
Well, I don't want you to freak out because this is already being used in all of the ways that we've already described. So if you're hoping that AI might avoid the courtroom in every one of the scenarios that I just laid out for you.
What?
AI has already been integrated.
In North America?
In the world, bud.
Really?
Yeah, it's already happening in law firms, courtrooms, even in the legal proceeding process, in the court systems in many places. a lot of this is already being used, not to the nth that we will see it in the next year or two, but it's already there and the seeds are growing.
So a year from now, we need to do a follow-up show to this and see if they have AI generated stats, if it's how much it sped up the prosecution, as it were, the getting through the case, matriculating through all the cases in the courtrooms.
I'll tell you what we'll do, Jim. We'll put a prompt in the computer that says, do an AI version of the show with AI Jim and AI Mike in 1 year from now when the Matrix is in full effect.
Canada, no one needs an AI Jim. We promise you that right now.
I wouldn't say no to another Jim in my life. It's a good thing to have.
Okay.
And thanks very much for joining us. By the way, subscribe and tell a friend, as I often will say at the end of my shows.
Coming. We love them.
Wow. The comments are why we did this episode, by the way.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for that. Don't forget to subscribe and support the network in any way you can. We greatly appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
See you.
Patriotic means looking out for each other and fixing things together.
True patriotism is being in the country you love, surrounded by people you love, and great weather.
Being a patriot is being a part of your community and caring for it.
It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from, patriotism is the one thing we all share.
It's okay to be critical of government and still be a patriot.
It's gratitude to your country.
Of course I'm a patriot. I'm Canadian. It's my home.
Well, actually, true patriot love is the mission.